right, so that's basically what we'll have. Then your group will break off. Actually, on the DVD itself, after the video, the small group questions will pop up. But for most of the groups, they won't be in the same location as the DVD showing. So you want to make sure that you'll bring these questions with you to lead. We'll have some extras, if you forget or if somebody forgets. But that's the main thing to go through. And like I said, 6 questions. Some of them, we're going to have a lot of different teachers. Some will be shorter, some will be longer. Some, like myself and Jeff, we use some videos and stuff. So it'll be a little bit different. But then you have the discussion. And pretty much for the rest of the time, we're going to go over kind of some different things about the small groups. And now some of you, this will be review for some of the parts. Some will be new information. But we have some leaders here who've never led a small group or never really been involved with small groups. So they'll need to know this. One of the first things I think that's the most important thing that we realize is that we are seeking to be facilitators of a discussion. We're not seeking to be upfront teachers. I know sometimes you've had maybe in your past, you've been in a Bible study or a Sunday school class, or maybe your mindset was, hey, I have to get up and speak for 45 minutes and maybe have a few questions at the end. Well, if that's what you thought, that's not what we do. We ask questions, and we try and do what we can to facilitate the questions into not just so they go all over the place, and not just so people answer 6 questions that are on a sheet. This is making some weird noise up here, Greg. You know that? 6 questions that are on a sheet, but that they're actually getting and growing. Because one of the things that we want to make sure that we do is that we lead and facilitate for transformation. We don't just want to teach for information, because for most of the kids that will come and sit in the seats on the weekend, and most of the kids that will sit in our small groups, if they never read the Bible again, but just really started putting what they already know into practice, their lives would be totally different. So our biggest thing is going for transformation, not information. So what that means is that we don't want to be the kind of leader that just says, okay, we got 6 questions. What's the answer to the first one? What's your favorite memories from the summer? Okay, you played a lot of video games. Question 2. You're not excited about school starting this year? Well, nobody's excited about school. And you go, but no, we got to focus on this. We got to go through this. We got to look at some stuff. Maybe for you, the main question you may focus on may be, have you ever considered yourself a missionary at your school? And then boom, you can go off of that. We don't want to make it where all 6 questions have to be answered. I know Scott and his group, he picks a few questions he wants, and he tries to give them something to do. So we are looking to be discussion facilitators. We're facilitating a discussion, and we want to be kind of looked upon as the leader of the discussion, that when that one kid starts to be like, what'd you do this summer? Well, I did this, and I did this, and you probably could talk about what you did this summer for a whole class, but you're going to try and move it back to the topic. And if you come in with that one goal of what you want to see happen for these kids, it's going to make all the difference in the world, because you're not going to go across. You have a mission. A lot of times I think that sometimes leaders, the mission is, hey, I'm going to fill a full hour. I'm going to ask all these questions, and if I did that, I did a good job. But that's really not what we want to go for. We want to go for discussion facilitators and going through that. So just a couple things that we're going to do to help you guys make that happen is, one of the things that is a huge thing is a discussion is best done where everybody can see each other. I went to a camp this year, our 8th grade leadership did it in First Baptist Church of Oviedo. It was a mission camp a lot like ours, and I was actually paired up on a team with another youth pastor from another church, and I was like, man, whatever, you've been here before. I'm from Miami. I didn't go to any meetings. I didn't drive like 5 hours to meet for an hour and come back, no. So what are you going to do? So I was like, you can do it. You can do the discussions, the small groups, it's fine. And they had discussion questions, but he got up there and he sat a chair right in front of everybody, and he had row 1 of about 6 kids and row 2 of about 4 kids, and every kid was looking at him Every kid was focused straight at him. There was no interaction with the other people. Everybody was engaged with him. And that right there was set up that you're the teacher, you're the person we're focusing on, you're the person who is most involved. So what I want to suggest is that instead of doing an upfront focus, that we do a circular focus. And a lot of times the best way is a circular focus, not with a leader standing up or a leader in this position, but a leader in the same level as them, because you're saying, I'm here to facilitate, I'm here to work around this, to make sure that you don't go off on some crazy stuff. You know, my wife was in a Bible study, and they were so rigid that some lady said, yeah, it's okay to drink. It's okay to drink and get drunk. And I think it's okay. And because they were so rigid and they ran it, and that you're not allowed to correct anybody, even if they're totally biblically wrong, you can't do that because you don't have time for that. So they just went on to the next question, and that lady's probably getting drunk right now. And so we want to make sure that we're there as facilitators and kind of the person that has some knowledge, at least enough to know to guide people along the right direction. So as we sit in a circle, it's going to be a good thing. One of the other things we realized this year, and we're still trying to even fix this a little bit more, but we've done better than ever for the start of the year at having leaders to adequately minister to all of the small groups that we're planning to have for the best that we've ever done. Last year, there would be some weeks where there would be one leader and 20 students or 15 students. If there's one leader and 15 students or 20 students, you cannot realistically teach a good lesson. You might be able to teach a good lesson, but you can't facilitate a good discussion. You know, and if you're coming to facilitate a discussion and then you have 20 people and it's just you, you're not going to be able to do what we are trying to do. So this year, I think every group has multiple leaders. If you're a girl on Wednesday night, we have this year 2 groups scheduled per grade. For a couple reasons we do this. One is it will be easier to follow up on students. I remember last year some people wanted to do a Reach Beyond, but they had one leader and 20 students. How are you going to do a Reach Beyond with 20 middle schoolers and one leader? How are you going to do a Reach Beyond with 10 middle schoolers and one leader? It's going to be very difficult. So we've put it in, we've had the leaders in place to do that. And one of the other things about this is, I don't know if you're familiar with the supergroup mentality, and this is actually how I think we're going to start every one of our small groups, even if they're same grade, except probably for 6th grade, because you know, it's hard when you say, hey, we've all been together for a whole year. How are we going to split you? Well, we'll start you, we're planning on, and some of the leaders, we're going to, you know, we want to have input on this for sure, but we want to start with everybody in one room and just 2 separate discussions. And the reason we're doing this is not, you know, some people don't like the fact that we're splitting, but we realize that there's more people out there that need to come. You know, there's tons of students that don't come to small groups. And we want to make sure that people can care for the people, that they can call them, that they can know them, that they can send them emails, that they can write on their Facebook walls, that they can text them during the week. And when you have 20 students and it's just you on your roster, or 20 students and there's 2 leaders, it's very difficult to implement that. So that's one thing that we're really going to need help with this year, is kind of transitioning it to a couple different groups. And some of you, we'd love to hear your input on that if your group has 2 listed by it. But we really feel that that's going to be healthy for growth. And like if you think about, for you guys, for 6th grade, you had like 15 girls a lot of weeks, right? About? Sometimes? So if you had about 15 girls, and that was in 6th grade, how many could they have by 8th grade? You know, they could have a very large group, and, you know, we can't ever expect to logistically manage all those and have a good group. So one of the things we're going for is to get people where they can really have the true small group feel. And then for guys, you'll be happy to know that we have at least 2 guys for every group, and it's not just one guy, so we can do a much better job at actually conducting the groups for that as well. So one of the things, even if you have a group of like 10 or 12 guys, and you have 2 leaders, or 10 or 12 girls, and you have 2 leaders, you can go ahead and break them up into the discussions and have discussions with 1 leader and 6 students, whatever you see fit. But the best thing is we're looking for discussion facilitators.